Good morning, Deify here, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo, where we are now solidified on the Hanako route. Go us! We're doing great fun. Now, like I said, I do believe the Hanako route has the least amount of choice in it, the least amount of branching paths, but it's still a good story, and I'm going to stand by that to the end of my days. My alarm blares into my ears, only to be swiftly silenced by my fist. Just like the haters. Good job, Hisao. He's the best at this. My body switches into auto mode, carrying my subconscious self out of bed and into my uniform. As always, my bottles of pills sit on my desk patiently, waiting for me to take them and pick out my daily dosage of medicine. 17 pills a day. Yikes. Before I know it, I'm opening the door to Class 3-3, glad to see that I'm not the only one who seems to be a little hungover from festival week. Bro, you didn't do any drinking this time around. Every face in the classroom looks gaunt. With the festival now over, it's as if everyone's life dreams have been achieved. With nothing left to live for, students have relied on instincts alone to guide them to class. Or maybe I'm just reading too much into it. I slowly make my way to my seat, and it's only then that I realize why the room is so peaceful. The seats beside me are blissfully empty. The world's loudest interpreter for the deaf has yet to arrive. Comedic timing, how about that? Just as I'm about to sit down, the door flies open, revealing a resplendent Misha, drills bobbing from the dramatic entrance and arms stretched towards the sky. Yahoo! It's all over! It would appear that not everyone is affected by the post-festival depression. The rest of the class glare at her, obviously thinking the same thing I am. Misha, still frozen in the doorway with her arms still in the air, nervously looks around. It's obvious that she senses the foul mood, but can't work out exactly what to do. Suddenly, she jerks forward. Hey! As she stumbles into the classroom, she reveals Shizune, arms still extended from where she shoved Misha. Thanks for the entertainment, but shouldn't you two take your seats? That sounds like a very Muto thing to say. Still slightly embarrassed, Misha takes a few seconds to realize she has to translate. Oh, yeah! Shichun says she's not happy with you ditching us last week. We were really busy. Is that so? What about the stuff I already did for you two? She says that only counts for council members. Since you declined, she doesn't owe you anything. Misha leans closer and whispers conspiratorially into my ear. Actually, I think she's just a little sore that you didn't spend the day with her. She's really thankful for your work last week, though. Sensing that she is being talked about, Shizune lightly wraps her fingers on her desk until Misha turns around to face her. I can't understand any of the fast-paced signing that's going on, but from Shizune's slightly embarrassed expression and Misha's poorly contained laughter, I can guess. She's got a crush on us. While this exchange is happening, the door opens once again, but this time at a much more reasonable pace. Hanako, aka Bae now that we are on her route, I suppose, quietly enters the room and pulls the door closed behind her. Peering out from under her hair, she quickly scans the classroom. Our eyes meet, and she suddenly stiffens. She closes her eyes, takes a deep breath, and then walks over to my desk. Good morning, Hisao. Morning, Hanako. You're a little late, aren't you? Oh, rub it in. I was talking to Lily about today. Ah, so you've got her list then? Oh, that's right, we're going shopping. I remember now. Ooh, exciting. Our first date with Hanako, because I guess the festival doesn't count. Although I don't think we're really a thing quite yet. We can leave straight after classes in that case. Sure. I'm looking forward to it. Hanako briefly flashes her embarrassed smile at me, then hurries off to her seat. During classes, it becomes apparent that it's not only the students that are a little despondent after the festival. Muto simply gives us a list of exercises from the textbook, and then sits behind his desk. I totally forget about the brief lunch period for a moment, such is the banality of the day. It's mind-numbing, and everyone seems surprised when the bells signal the end of the lessons. As I'm packing up my bags, Shizune and Misha flank and entrap me. Say, Hee-chan, it's still not too late to join up. There's a lot of post-festival paperwork for us to complete. Sorry, Misha, I've got plans? As if sensing the cue, Hanako appears behind me, holding a small bag and trying to avoid eye contact with the outside world. That sounds like a normal teenage thing to do. Okay, I'll allow it. Misha's eyes open wide, then she bursts into laughter. You move fast, don't you, Hee-chan? We won't disturb your date any further. Behind the roaring Misha, I see Shizune taking far too little interest in the scene. I might be taking this the wrong way, but I think she's deliberately ignoring me. Feel a gentle tug on my shirt, and turn to see Hanako's eyes fixed firmly on the floor. Let's... Got ya. Shizune, Misha, I'll see you cats later. You gotta be cool. You gotta be cool in 1920s. Then give them the finger guns and back away. See you cool cats later. And I'm still not interested in the council. Okay, never mind. We gave up on that cool facade. Spoil sport! Misha and Shizune retreat into the hallway, happily signing to each other. Got all your stuff? Let's head off! Floods of students pour out of the school gates and onto the road into town. It's a little weird. It's almost a scene from any other high school, but the illusion fades because of the occasional wheelchair or missing limb. Okay, you can't say you didn't have, like wheelchairs at your high school? Hiso? Like, that's not uncommon. I think there were like 2 or 3. 2 kids with wheelchairs at my high school. Like, come on, Hiso. Gotta be a little more sensitive here. That is not a standout thing. Okay, missing limbs, I'm like, alright, I can see that. I don't think I knew anyone with missing limbs. I knew someone with deformed fingers, but that was about the closest it got. One thing I do notice is that nobody is alone. Hey, don't worry, you're not either. And, as Hanako and I pass through the gates, I notice that she closes the distance between us. Oh, not enough to be considered close, but she certainly isn't at her usual just a little far position. I guess we're not familiar enough for her to get as close as she does with Lily. However, even though she has moved a little closer to me physically, mentally, she seems to have traveled a mile. Her hands clutched around the leather straps of her bag to the point of whitening her knuckles, her head down, and her mouth pursed closed. She almost looked like she's being walked to the principal's office for the first time. I try to stifle a giggle at the thought, but it's futile. What's the matter? Guess there's no point in hiding it. Sorry. For a second there, it looked like you were getting in trouble. What do you mean? I think you need to relax a little. We're not going too far, and it's only students around, right? Right. Bothers me a little to see Hanako so worked up. And you do this every week, don't you? Yeah, but not with a boy. Oh yeah, there we go. Yes, with Lily. Of course, with Lily. I wonder, has she ever left the school without her? Doesn't seem like much at first glance, but Hanako's dependence on Lily is absurdly heavy. If she can't even handle leaving the school without her, how would she have managed to survive if the two had ever met? Would she have found someone else to latch onto? And what drew her to Lily? Was it her lack of eyesight? Or was Lily just kind enough to lend a hand? Wonder if anyone would have fit the bill. Well, I'm here. Besides, we're not going far. It'll be over before you know it. Hanako's knuckles slowly regain their color as she tries to hide a small smile. But the effort of that seems to prevent further conversation. We travel side by side down the winding road towards the town. The crowd of students thins as we continue along the sidewalk. Faster students rush ahead, and the less mobile ones fall behind, rarefying the crowd into nothingness. By the time we reach the convenience store, we're practically alone. Using me as a shield between herself and the attendant, Hanako moves through the narrow aisles, adding an assortment of items to her basket. Bread, milk, tea, time? No one has enough time. What kind of convenience store sells herbs? Then again, nothing about this town seems normal, which may not be such a bad thing in retrospect. Everything is so different and uncomfortable. Dwelling on such matters isn't really an option. When I think about that, it reminds me of Hanako. No matter how much you try, you can't escape her scars. They still interrupt my train of thought when I see them. As much as I don't want to admit it to myself, I think I'm forcing myself to try to ignore them. Not that I'm scar-free myself. The jagged line down my sternum will never completely fade away. I just have the luxury of being able to hide it easily. But, in a way, both of our scars remind me that we're all in this place for a reason. Hanako throws one last item into her basket, and then sheepishly holds it out to me, along with a few banknotes. Could you please... It takes me a second to understand what she's trying to say. Oh, you want me to pay for this? She nods, but doesn't look up. I guess this task falls to Lily on the usual occasions. Sure, let me just grab a couple of things. Hastily, I grab a few essential items for myself and head for the counter with Hanako in close tow. The attendant gives me an indifferent nod as he scans the items. I suppose just ignoring us is one way to deal with the anomalies of Yamaku. They must get a lot of students here, being the closest store to the school. The staff must all have their own way of dealing with us. Or maybe they don't. Maybe it's only me who thinks twice about my unique schoolmates. Maybe it's only me who has the same existential crisis every episode. Our transaction complete, Hanako and I head back out onto the street. The road is pretty much abandoned now. The students that were heading out have already left, and nobody has started returning just yet. And with only the school ahead on the road, there doesn't seem to be anyone else around. The emptiness certainly reflects on Hanako, her arms by her side, each carrying a bag, her head no longer bowed and back to the upright position. It's almost as if she were enjoying this walk. So, why all these weird things? Weird things. Mixed spice? Why would you need that in school? I sometimes like to make food. Well, yeah, so do I, but spices? You don't just, like, throw a slab of chicken on the grill and call it delicious? Don't just... I'm trying to think of what else I spice a lot. Chicken's the most bland food I can think of. I cannot eat chicken if it's not spiced. Like, come on, Hisao, what are you talking about? That's a little more advanced, don't you think? What is this? Is she not allowed to be good at cooking? Not really. It's the greatest response. Okay, hold on. Get back in character. Well, I think it's cool. You'll have to teach me one day. Sure. She doesn't seem all that sure, but pushing the point doesn't seem all that wise. Spices advanced. At the very... I can't do it. At the very least, she seems a great deal happier than she did on the walk down here. That alone makes me a little happier. Outside the girls' dorm, Hanako and I sort out the grocery bags with our respective purchases. In comparisons, my things look positively plain. You know, chicken breast, grill, fork. That's it. I tell you, you're putting me to shame here. No, I'm not. I'm only joking. I have a stack of homework that I skipped last week, so I must leave now. Will you be alright getting that to your room? Yeah. Sure? Okay then. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. We part ways, and I return to my room. Piles of papers sit upon my desk, begging to be completed. What are the odds we're going to skip our homework again? With the entire ruckus of the last week, I barely had any time to catch up. I tried to keep up with my studies while I was in the hospital, but some of this stuff I've never seen before, even back in my old school. Totally unprepared, I pop the top on a can of drink and get to work. Well, it seems like we actually did our homework, but did we do it any good? I don't know. That's the real question here. The days are really starting to heat up. This morning, I woke covered in sweat. By the time the student body starts leaving their dorms for breakfast and morning duties, the sun has taken full effect. Oddly, that puts me in high spirits. It's not even 8, yet I feel that this day is going to be one of those pleasant, tranquil, warm ones. If I weren't at school that considered every absence from class as a sign of life-threatening situation, I'd consider skipping the whole day and just relaxing in the school gardens. Yes, today will be a genuinely lazy day. For a second, I stop in mid-stretch and consider the nurse's warning about exercise. Maybe I should have kept up those morning jogs. Running with someone like Emmy might have been a little testing. Emmy's a sun ray, or a ray of sunshine, I guess is the better way of putting it. But if I worked at my own pace... who am I kidding? I couldn't stick to something like that without some kind of motivation. How about getting your body bikini ready, Hisao? That helps me. It's not like I sit around all day. The walk to and from the convenience store counts as exercise, right? Especially the walk back up the hill. Yeah, it's no big deal. Compared to months lying in a hospital bed, I'm getting plenty of exercise. It seems that I'm not alone in my appreciation of the day. Nearly every member of the class is glancing through the window and into the tantalizing sky. Even the steadfast Shizune seems to lack her usual vigor for schoolwork. Misha is brazen as ever, has even unbuttoned the top buttons of her shirt and is fanning herself with a notebook. I must have been staring, and she's now sticking her tongue out at me. Don't do that, they always know. However, she shows no sign of halting her efforts, nor is she trying to hide the fact. The lunch bells seem to catch everyone by surprise, and the class empties at a much slower pace than usual. The heat seems to be draining the need to rush from everyone. Well, almost everyone. Hisao? Hey there, Hanako. What can I do for you today? Hanako already has a lunch bag in hand. I don't have to be a detective to work out where this is going. You cleaned up some dog poo in the park, and you need me to throw it out for you. It's the only thing I can think of a lunch bag for. Would you like to have lunch with us again? I brought enough for everyone. Awesome. You don't have to be so stiff about it, though. Right. I take it we're going to the tea room? Please? Lily said she'll meet us in there, so we should... Should go ahead together. Sounds like a plan. This heat has made me pretty hungry. Hanako breathes a sigh of relief, and I gather my things together. As usual, the aura of the tea room is refreshing, feeling isolated from the rest of the world. Then again, the usual din of the school seems to be a bit subdued, most likely from laziness promoted by heat exhaustion. Hanako slowly spreads her food on the table, intently focusing on every little movement, as if she's trying to keep her mind off other thoughts. It's not much, but I can tell from her demeanor that she has prepared everything with utmost care. I guess Lily isn't here yet. Should we start without her? She'll be here soon. Hanako struggles with the lid of the container of rice. Here, let me help you with that. I take the container from Hanako's hands and try to force open the lid. Try as I might, it seems wedged shut. Let me guess, did you put this in while the rice was still hot? Yes, I was in a rush. Put the container on the table between us. I thought so. It looks like this is wedged shut. We'll need some hot water to get it open. If that could be a pain in here, we'd get water everywhere. Well, in that case, how about I contribute to today's meal? At the door, I had to do a double tap. I was like, wait, who's talking? There's no one on the screen. Then I got it. We're all good there. Oh. It's using my webcam microphone, I just realized. 19 minutes in, this audio is going to be terrible, and I apologize. At the door, Lily smiles while holding up a bag stocked with various buns and bread rolls. I can't help but do the same. Since you two had a change of plans because of me, I thought I would bring a little something. Thanks, Lily. Here, let me get that for you. With a little guidance, Lily's bread assortment joins Hanako's riceless platter. I hastily make some tea to complete the picture. Well, I'm looking forward to this. As I take a bite, I notice Hanako trying her hardest to not look like she is looking at me. It's nothing special, but then again, I can't really complain. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to cooking for myself. Not bad. Oh, what a great compliment right there. Not bad. I guess this is made with the stuff you bought yesterday. You know, what did you call them? Spices? You'll need to teach me about these. Yes. Hanako's eyes shout at me, begging for some kind of feedback. Very spiced, I think. Well, it was clearly worth it. Thanks, Hanako. I wanted to show you this after yesterday. It's okay. I was just a little surprised at the stuff you were buying. Hanako's always liked to experiment when it comes to food. I think it's good. Most of the time. While Lily's smile doesn't waver, a slight change in her tone tells me that things have not gone so well in the past. And it's not like Hanako has many people to sample her cooking. Hang on. Was Lily waiting for me to go first? She didn't start eating until after I said it was alright. Her cheeky grin tells me that this was a deliberate action on her part. I'll have to try and work out how to get one over her in the future to make up for this. Well, it's good. And that's all that counts, right? Right. Lily, satisfied at not being the first to sample Hanako's creation, begins to consume the food in front of her. I find myself staring as I watch her chopsticks gently touch the plate, their tips delicately poking and tracing to quickly ascertain the positions of the food as she dexterously picks it up. One might think she were a child playing with her food if not for the situation, though she does it with such care and thoughtlessness that it's obvious this is simply how she eats this kind of meal. Not wanting to miss out, I start filling myself up. Hanako takes a different approach, waiting until Lily and I have our hands clear before quickly snatching up her share. Before long, the containers are empty, save for the still-shut rice container. Thank you, Hanako, that was filling. No, thank you for the bread. Yes, it would have been a disaster if not for that. Compliment game on point with Hisao. You're both welcome. But now I must be getting back. It's far too easy to be late after eating here. Yeah, I see what you mean. I think we'll just clean up here and then head off. Well, then, good day. Lily leaves, her cane tapping away down the quiet hallway. Hanako and I quickly pack our things and stay seated, waiting for the bell. Together, we stare out the window and into the endless azure sky. If it weren't for the pealing of the bells, I would have sworn that time had stopped. The urge to skip class rises in my gut. I shoot a glance at Hanako, who shows no sign of moving either. Not just yet. The interval between the warning bells and the lunch bell passes in the blink of an eye. We really should go. People will freak out and start a search party if we skip. Hanako sighs. You're right. Slowly, she rises to her feet, and I follow suit. Silently, we make our way up the old stairs to the 3rd floor, and then to our classroom. At the door, I take point and open the door ahead of Hanako, bowing my head down in apology in advance. I'm sorry we're late, teacher. I'm greeted not by stern words, nor by an angered instruction to take my seat, but simply by the silence created by 15 or so students trying not to laugh. Muto, ever tardy, has yet to arrive. However, the fact that Hanako and I have arrived together is blatantly obvious. Make that about 14 students trying and 1 student failing. The lovers return. Yeah, thanks. You can calm down now. I step through the door and realize that Hanako is firmly pressed against my back, hiding herself from the class. With my steps coming closer to my desk, she eventually breaks from me and stiffly walks to her own. Her efforts to mentally block everyone's presence from her mind are written fairly clearly on her face. Quickly, checking the door for any signs of the teacher's arrival, I make a trip to Hanako's desk and whisper in her ear. Yeah, because that'll help the rumors. Don't worry about Misha, she's always like this. I enjoyed myself today. Don't sweat it, okay? Hanako nods her head behind her folded arms, but still doesn't show her face. I yearn to stay and console her more, but Muto picks this exact moment to enter the class, halfway through his lecture, as if he started it in the hallway. Which, of course, is directly proportional to the charge, but inversely proportional to the square of the distance. He's so engrossed in his speech that he doesn't even notice me sneaking back into my seat from Hanaka's desk. While Muto's spiel rambles on, Misha leans over to me. The teacher may not have noticed your tardiness, but I did. That much is obvious from the show you just put on. I have been instructed to let you off the hook for today, but only on one condition. Oh? And what would that be? You have to help us this afternoon. I crane my neck to look over Misha's shoulder. Shizune is conveniently not making eye contact with me. Fine, just for today. I've already told you, I'm not joining the council, remember? Of course! Don't be so considered. She looks down at her notebook, obviously looking for her place in her script. Under duress and... I think I misread that last one. Under duress and hence would be against regulations. It was something like such activity would be considered. I don't even know what I read, but I don't think I read the script right. I messed up my script. Misha did better than me, probably. How very strange of you to be considerate of the regulations now. Things should be done by the book. It's just that the book hasn't been written for every situation, so there are times when it can be ignored. And yet, you two wonder why no one else wants to be in the student council. Oof. After poking her tongue out at me, Misha returns to her workbook, and we battle our way through the latter half of the school day. Before I can even stand up, Misha and Shizune have placed their hands on both my shoulders. Hey, I said I'd help out, damn. This is just insurance, Hisao, insurance! Hisao? Hanako timidly tries to leave the room by circling around us, and I suddenly realize that this may be my one chance to escape. Oh, hey, Hanako, what's up? Hey, what makes you think you've got time to chat? Oh, relax, this won't take long. Sorry, Hanako, what were you saying? I was going to go to the library, and I thought... Hanako's thumbs dance around each other, and her eyes flit around the room, looking everywhere but at us. Sorry, Hanako, but Hisao has to come with us. He's got work to do. Oh, but you can help too if you'd like. So, how about it, Hisao? Do I feel like messing everything up? I mean, do I owe them? You know what? I need more Misha in this. I love Misha. She's so much fun to talk with. So let's see if we can get Hanako in on this. What do you say, Hanako? If we all help, it shouldn't take long at all. Hanako's fidgeting answers my question before she can even form the words. I really need to go. Well, that was to be expected. Looks like it's just me and the council girls again. Alright, well, we didn't get Hanako, but hey, that just means more Misha dialogue, right? It's easier to resign myself to another afternoon's work in the small council office. I'll catch up with you later, okay? Okay. Right, now that the farewells are over, it's work time. Misha and Shizune frog marched me to the student council office, never once letting go of my shoulders. I feel a little bad for ditching Hanako like this, but if this is the price of getting Misha off her back, so be it. So, then, what are we up to today? Debrief. Huh? Isn't that supposed to happen after something? Yup. We have to collate all of the information from the festival so that Shi-chan can debrief the teachers. Shizune drops a large pile of paperwork on the desk in front of me, and smiles succinctly. You need to sort these out into 2 piles. One for financial stuff, like receipts, one for feedback, one for positive feedback, maybe one for things that look like they could be problems next year, one for problems that probably won't be able to be fixed. That's a few more than 2 piles. Huh? Oh, right. Yeah, I thought it would only be 2 piles. My bad. Right. While I'm doing this, what will you two be doing? Well, we missed lunch because we were collecting all of these reports, so we're going to go get some food. Why didn't you just sort them out while you were collecting them? Thankfully, My self-defense mechanism kicks in and prevents me from opening my mouth and further worsening my situation. Eh? How is that fair? I was fretting over the unfair distribution of work so much that I didn't notice that Shizune had kept on signing. If it weren't for Misha's outburst, I probably wouldn't have noticed at all. Shizune seems to be delivering a fairly long string of commands to Misha, and none of them look pleasant. Reaching a conclusion, Misha signs briefly back to Shizune and then sits down at the desk next to me. Shizune waves to the both of us before disappearing out the door. What was that all about? Shi-chan was worried that you'd get it all wrong unless you were supervised. And since she can't tell you how you're messing things up, she's making me stay. Ah, bummer, I wanted to go with Shi-chan. But she's going to bring us back some food. How good is that? Misha's flippancy is out of this world. From down in the dumps to on top of the world over some calories. It's hard to imagine how anyone could operate at that level. Well, it could have been worse. So what are we supposed to be doing? Collation. I gathered that. Well, let's just start making piles. We'll work out what the piles mean later. Right. We start to separate all the papers into increasingly complex piles. At first, it's just simple categories: financial, feedback, incident reports. Then they split apart into the good and bad reports, and further still until it starts to look like we've just thrown the papers onto the desk. This is hopeless. Huh? Why? We're doing what we were told, right? Yes, but it looks like we're just making a mess. No, I think we got it all done. Shi-chan will be able to work out the rest from here. So I think we can stop about here then. It's almost as if Misha's common sense left the room with Shizune. Still, there's no point in arguing. Anyway, what's the deal with you and Hanako? Oh, it's all gossip excuse. Deal? You were hanging out with her today, weren't you? Have there been any fireworks? Any gossip that you're withholding from me? If I told you about my own circumstances, it wouldn't be gossip, would it? I guess not. We're just friends, I guess. Why are you so interested? I thought you and Shizune didn't like her. Well, it's not really like that. You know Shi-chan and Lily don't get along well. And since you can't really get Hanako away from Lily, we don't talk to her much. But that doesn't mean that I can't be concerned for her. What's there to be concerned about? Well, she never hangs out with anyone else, right? It's no good, Hee-chan. Shizune and Lily dislike each other because their personalities are different, and I hate to think how Misha and Hanako would get along. I mean, in one way or the other, we're all in the same boat here, right? Well, I guess. This one time, when she left class halfway through, Shi-chan went to the teacher and asked what was going to be done about it. He said that every student here has special needs, and that Shi-chan shouldn't worry herself about it. Hanako never does any group work. She just runs off. Isn't that enough to be concerned about? I guess you're right. She still hardly says a word when we're talking. Well, that's more than I've been able to do. Shi-chan and I both tried when she started, but she got scared and ran off. I consider telling Misha that exactly the same thing happened with me, but she seems caught up in thought. Listening to Misha without Shizune's influence is interesting. I think she needs to realize that people here don't care what she looks like, and that she can trust us. If she could, I'd feel a lot better about her. I think this is the longest I've watched Misha without seeing her sign. When she's with Shizune, she is constantly waving her hands about, explaining the world to Shizune. That amount of effort probably places a strain even on an agile mind. And let's face it, Misha isn't the world's brightest spark. Well, I'll keep an eye on her for you. But you should probably apologize for earlier. I don't think Hanako is cut out for that kind of joke. Oh? Oh! I didn't even notice. Sorry. Don't say it to me. Just mention it to her. Alright, first thing tomorrow, I'll speak to her. Good. A cacophony from the door heralds the return of Shizune. I guess she can't really tell how much noise she's making. Oh, Shi-chan, you're back! Shizune appears, completely laden with goods from the convenience store. There was some surplus left from the festival. Since this is officially festival business, I've splurged a little. Nice idea, Shi-chan. 10 points! Is that really allowed? For someone who refuses to join us, you seem to take an unhealthy interest in the politics of this council. I shall punish your insolence by rationing your portion of the feast. Fine, fine. I get it. Misha slides the multiple stacks of paper to one side to make room for the avalanche of food Shizune is spreading out. As I watch my hard yet misdirected work become wasted, I realize that it's little wonder why these two need help. The convenience store meal isn't overly tasty, but at the very least it's filling. Thanks for helping today. Most of the time we just make up the reports for the staff. This year we can at least make up some relevant headings on the debrief. Are you sure this isn't a corrupt organization? Not at all, not at all. We're by the book. It's not our fault if the book isn't specific enough. I thought that was the definition of corruption. You think too much. You know what? You're probably right. Anyway, I must be off. That is, if I'm allowed to leave. Your work has been deemed sufficient. You may leave. Well, thank you. You know, if you stress the free meal side of things over the endless workload side, you'd probably end up with more recruits. You might just have a point. Well, think about it. And think about what we talked about. You don't have to tell that to Shizune if you don't want. What? Oh, right. I'll try to see her tomorrow. Good night, Hee-chan. Night, Misha, Shizune. Oh wow, is that actually ending the day? Absurd. I didn't think it would, I thought there'd be like some evening activities of sorts. But what a great place to leave things off with chirping birds. My favorite morning time activity. Actually, not a lot of Hanako I guess the first half was Hanako related. Second half, not so much. But yeah, not a lot of Hanako, I guess, all things told. Alright then, well, I'm going to leave this episode here. I'm supposed to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Even with the bad audio quality. Sorry. Until next time on Katawa Shoujo, goodbye.